too.
Ralph turned the wrong way when we started out.
He's supposed to be in the front.
We put the militia out front so he can watch me run from the bayonet.
You can, if you want to come up. Just, we'll warn you with the little ones, you know, and the dog is a little loud. We'll talk about it.
I'll stand in the shade. The old cedar tree.
West. Yeah. I didn't bring a camera on camera. I need to get all the pictures out of my parents. I'm sure that I had all of them in the computer.
Is it afternoon?
Yes, it is.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Morrow Mountain State Park. I hope you're enjoying the day. What we're going to do in a few minutes is fire the musket, but I'm going to make you endure a little bit of talking first. So you might want to just sit down. I don't know. One of the things you will notice is that all these guys are dressed differently. And the reason they're dressed like that is the whole picture postcard image of the American Army all in blue coats is exactly that. It's a picture postcard image. Did not happen. Most of the American uniforms, like, I gotta call you a gentleman, like the soldier on the end. Most of them were French lottery coats, which meant they sent them over here basically for us to use. Why? Because we were shooting at the British, and they liked that. But they were either used or spare coats that had been used by the French Army. Okay? A lot of these other clothes, like the one second from the end right here, he has on what's called a hunting frock. Now that is basically a very light jacket. George Washington actually thought that that was the perfect military coat because it's very light and it's cheap. You'll notice it does have fringe on it all over it. Any thoughts on why it has fringe? Anybody? No? Alright. Go home, kids, and find your mom's very best washcloth. The brand new one. Put it down in the sink in the water. You know, it's hemmed all the way around. Pull it up and let it hang. What's going to happen to the water? It's going to run right to the hemmed edge and slowly but surely drip out. But you cut that hem off. That's why you use the best one. You cut the hem off and fringe it out and put it in the water and hold it up, and the water will run right out. That's what the fringe is for. It's to wick the water away from the garment. You'll notice that it also has one or two capes on it. Now, if he didn't have all of his accoutrements here over it, he can actually take that cape if it were raining, and he wouldn't be like that if it were raining, put it over his head and put his hat on top of it, cover his head with it. It also provides multiple layers for his shoulders. And then the next two are in what's called small clothes, which is what I'm in. And why do you think all these clothes are basically white? Any thoughts? Who said that? Who said cheaper? It's exactly right. It's undyed fabric. It's cheaper. And while I don't have their coats on, same reason I don't. It's warm. Can't see them about you, Ralph.
Make me put this on.
The secret to wearing a wool coat like this, and he is, if the rest of them were going to put those coats on, he would be the smartest one in the bunch. Because he put his on this morning. The secret to wearing wool in the summertime is put it on in the morning and wear it all day. Once you get it wet with sweat, it's cooler. If you ever take it off and let it dry and then put it back on, you'll be miserable. Been there. And again, the last one here has the fringe rifle frock. A lot of times, getting back to the uniform coat, if it were in the hot summertime and there was going to be a battle, they would order them to take the coats off. For one thing, to preserve the coat. But for another thing, you take in particular the Battle of Monmouth Courthouse up in New Jersey. It happened in July?
Yeah,
June or
June,
July?
June.
June. They lost more soldiers to heat than they did to the battle. And there were a lot killed in that battle. So that tells you something. So they're given orders to take the coats off and fight in the battle. Oh, Ralph, would you like to get up and explain your musket? Explain your musket.
Thank you, musket.
Yes, my musket is actually of the period is actually probably the most modern weapon of the 18th century. This is the second land model of the British Brown Bess. It's actually got the Grice stamp, the crown stamp, and the stamp 1762. This is actually what the British Army actually carried. A lot of these were left over. Some of them were first land models, which were a little bit longer, but they were left from the French and Indian War. So it's where most of them came from. But just like I said, also spoils of battle. What's left on the battlefield is picked up. This is a 75 caliber smooth bore musket. It's actually not very accurate, but what really makes this thing unique is
it going to take two to get that out?
it looks like that. Is the bayonet. You would actually, what you have now is a long pike. This was the weapon that was used. They would actually walk up and within 40 yards, because it was a close and personal war. You saw your enemy. So they would actually walk up, fire a couple volleys, and then they would go into a bayonet charge. So they actually fought hand to hand. So, and most of the ones that had the bayonets were the Continentals, the trained soldiers. Militia, some of them would have had them, especially ones that were militia that were ex-Continentals. They were trained to use the bayonet, but most of your just regular farmers, that's what we were talking about the Battle of Monmouth. The British would actually walk out, and that would let the Americans know that bayonets were coming, and they would actually run. So, but after the Battle of Monmouth, after trained at Valley Forge, they were actually trained with the art of the bayonet. So they fought the British to a standstill. And the range of this musket is actually 100 yards. Like I said, not very accurate because the bullet is actually smaller than the barrel, and it'll actually bounce. So actually, what they would actually do is actually fighting in the ranks. Instead of aiming the musket, they wouldn't aim. They actually turn sideways. Because these are actually for reenacting purposes only. This wouldn't be here. So whatever's coming out of here is coming out of there too. So whatever's there is catching people in the face. So
And I've been there too.
They would actually turn their head. They never aim. These are not sights. That's a bayonet lug. That's all it's for.
That's a point and shoot gun.
Mm-hmm.